Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is the 58 Keys Writing Workshop, where basically the format is I tell you how I write something or what I believe I've learned as a professional writer about things, and then you absolutely totally must disagree with me in the comments. This time, is this something to disagree with? It's like there are just multiple views on things, but it has this. Self-publishing. Don't make it your first choice, okay? Now, I don't care if you've never self-published anything in your life, you are more than capable of doing it, and it's not like it's difficult. I mean, there's lots of bits to it, it's fiddly, and then the marketing of it, there's loads and loads of bits, but you're more than capable of all of it, fine, that's not an issue at all. I think this is the issue, why you choose to self-publish. Now, some of my books are, is it 14 years ago? No, I can't remember. I can't remember what this was about. There was an event and I thought I could sell a certain book there, and I had a few months, but there was no way to get an agent publisher. I had an agent, I'd get it through my publisher. There was no way to get it done in time unless I self-published it. So I wrote it, I self-published it. It's a very basic self-published thing. And like I say, I can't remember the event, but I think I sold a few. I just know this book has been really useful to me. It keeps chugging away on Amazon for all these years later, and actually it has earned more than some of my other things for it. But so yeah, I'm not knocking self-publishing, I am knocking the reasons behind it. For this example, I did a thing at a summer school, writing summer school, a couple of years ago, and as part of the school they had a shop. They converted a room in the convention centre to a bookshop, and of course you went in to see what was there. It's a bookshop, what are you going to do? And walking around looking at all these things, there must have been 50 books on sale there. There was all of the presenters, all of the speakers. Mine wasn't for some reason. No, I didn't bring it. But most of the attendees as well, they had their books there, and every one of them was self-published. So no one there had got traditionally published, but no one. There's something off there. It's like they had positively chosen against getting published. And I think, based on the conversation I was having there at the time, it's because they believed it was easier. It's certainly quicker. From that first book of mine, that first self-published one was early maybe 2012, call it 2012. At the same time, I had my first other book, real book if you like. It came out from the British Film Institute. It was a book about a TV series called The Beiderbecke Affair. I remember thinking at the time that I got a yes out of them incredibly quickly, but then the time from yes to like very yes and a contract, I could have written the book 3 times over. Yes, it takes a long time. And then it wasn't scheduled to come out for ages afterwards. They did a beautiful thing with the book and I'm very proud of it, but the process is long. Yes, self-publishing, I even knew then I could get it out quickly. Okay. The trouble is, I think, if you turn to self-publishing first, without considering trying to pitch it somewhere else, you can get a nasty shock with how hard it is to do everything except the writing part. I mean, we're writers, we know the writing bit isn't exactly easy, but there's everything else. I said you could do it, yeah, but like I said, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of bits to it. So it takes time. And it does take skill to design books well, to get covers done. Just to properly produce a book is an amazing piece of work. And then there's the distribution of it, then there's the marketing of it. I know people who have just disregarded the marketing side, like once it's there, it'll be out. And I suppose so, but it won't be out in bookshops. Why won't it be out in bookshops? I've just asked a question and mostly I was asking myself a question there. There's a previous workshop video saying don't ask questions in articles, and it actually makes me twitch a little bit, even saying it's to you, because the obvious next thing is, duh, why won't bookshops do it in? But how about this? Forget that you're a writer for a moment, step back and think of yourself as a bookseller. Every book on every shelf you have is basically costing you money. It's taking rent, really, from the moment you get it to the moment you sell it. So the best thing for you is to get a book that sells quickly. Now, you have a choice. Traditional publishers come to you with their lists, published months in advance, you know clearly what's going on. probably famous writers, almost certainly loads of books that are sequels or continuations of popular series, all this stuff, or you have the self-published pile, and it will be a pile. There are obviously good and bad self-published books, but I offer that there's more bad than there are good. It's like when the internet first came out and people were saying, you don't need publishers anymore, you don't need editors, and then very soon you thought, yeah, you need editors, you need publishers. I don't care how good you are competing against people who are not good. And there's so many people doing so many things. You are there as a bookseller, you look at it, how do you work out? How do you physically have the time to go through it to work out what you think is a good book? I offer that even if you thought you had the time, you're in a business. You need to get books that people will buy. So if you go back to the original publishers, the traditional publishers, as well as providing a book that you know will be really well made, I mean, it would be just perfectly produced, and that you can expect is well written. I know we would disagree over different titles, whether they're good or not, but there's like a certain standard of publishing. It's not going to be riddled with spelling mistakes or whatever. There's a certain standard you can unconsciously assume from a traditionally published book, and there's a certain quality to that book itself that you can expect. But you can also expect that the publisher will promote the book. So it's not like you don't have to as a bookseller, but people will learn about that book without you doing anything. They will do it from the marketing of it, the reviews of it, the push out into the press, the TV interviews with writers and stuff. People will come to your bookstore to buy that book. No one will come to your bookstore to buy a self-published book because it won't have any of that publicity. Self-published books do great when you take them to events. They don't do great in bookstores, and so they don't get in to bookstores. It's partly a reputational thing. Self-published books have a bad impression about it, but there's also just the time, the money, the effort that goes into it for it. So self-published books will not get into bookstores for it. They might get into bookstore websites, but then nobody's going to know to go look for them either. You need to plan for an immense amount of effort on your part, and maybe doing things you haven't done before, learning how to promote things, learning social media stuff. You could do all of this and it might yet not work. A publisher, a traditional publisher, can kind of afford that. If one book fails while the others succeed, okay, but this is your only book. This is all of your time that you could be spent writing another thing, and all of your effort in something that then might not work. Okay, you have to be prepared for that. You have to decide that that is the thing that is best for you and your book. In that case, away off you go to do it. But have that thinking process first. Also, honestly, I think my self-published books, such as they are, there's only a couple of them, but I know they are better than they would have been because I've been through traditional publishers, traditional editors, and things like this. I know I'm a better writer because of that process. So even if you think you want to publish it yourself, send it off to an agent and a publisher, see if it goes anywhere, see what you learn from them first. You will get situations like Wool, film now as Silo. You get books that suddenly take off, and like through word of mouth. There was a great story the other day where somebody, self-published author, said something about, we sold 2 books today, and there was just something so sweet about it, really, that her tweet, I think it was a tweet, just went viral, and loads of people bought her book, and she's doing really well for it, you know, great. Chances of pulling that off? Close to nil, really. Chances of mounting a mass publicity campaign with your book on the side of a bus? Definitely nil. And I know all of this is now sounding very negative about self-publishing, and really I am very clear on it's right for the right thing at the right time, and it's wrong for other things. I almost feel like I'm not judging it. I'm saying like these are the things for it. And I will tell you one example that I think kind of is more on the side of self-publishing. I mentioned that first book that I'd written that was traditionally published and I believe was really well done. I'm very proud of that book. Great. no publicity was done for it by the publisher, and I wasn't expecting that, particularly because my book came out as well. I think, well, it's part of a series. I think they published 3 in the series at the same time, and none of them got any publicity at all. So I did it. It was about a TV show, so I negotiated rights with the company to use clips on a promotional video. I'd never negotiated anything before in my life, and they told me afterwards they were so surprised the writer was asking. They gave me a better deal for it. So great. That publisher actually, well, I want to be careful here about it, because I think all the people have moved on since then, but I prepared a lot of material for this, including that video, and I presented it it was a company that published internationally. I presented it to the UK and to Australia. That was their biggest other market for my book. Australia wouldn't even reply to me about it. So I put things out on YouTube. I did things myself, and the book's selling okay and still selling fine, but I had to put that effort in, and I didn't do it well enough for it, but neither did the publisher. I actually like all this stuff. I don't think I'm good at it. Clearly I'm not in that case, but I enjoy the process of getting something to an audience. So the writing is one thing, and really is all I care about most of the time, but then when it's written, how can I get it to an audience? That matters. Sometimes that is self-publishing, but sometimes it isn't. Don't go into self-publishing blind. Go in as a conscious choice and be able to tell yourself why you are not trying a traditional publisher. And if the why you're not is it takes a long time, well then, tough, really. I think I just spat at you there, I'm sorry. Hopefully, well, if there's a sudden cutaway to, I don't know, my book or something, then yeah, I spat at the camera. But it wasn't intentional. I'm going to shut up now. Remember, please, the whole point of these workshop videos is that I blather on for a bit and then you talk to me in the comments below. It's why comments were invented, so we can have a chat. You and me, writer to writer. Basically, I'll steal any good ideas from you, and hopefully you'll do the same from me. There's a difference between steal and plagiarism. That might be another topic. Shut up, William. Enough now. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Now, go take care of yourself, eh? Write more. It's important. And I'll see you soon.